Hello, welcome to the Friday Crossword Masterclass. Mark today filling in for Simon, which is great. I get a chance to try a puzzle by our friend Jason Crampton, former main puzzle editor of the Magpie, now crossword editor of the Times, who occasionally sets puzzles himself and has set today's. So that's what we get to have a go at. It's Times Crossword 29561. When I've done this, I'll try and have a go at the quick cryptic, maybe going quickly, and we'll see how we get on with both. So let's try and take on today's Times cryptic by Jason Crampton, and I'll try and explain as we go along how we get the answers. So here's the puzzle. Just checking you can see it. Right, one across. Piece of hair cut at an angle requires this. A piece of hair. There are quite a few bits of crosswordese for pieces of hair. One of them is a lock of hair or a curl or something. And I'm trying to think of what cut at an angle might require that would relate to a different meaning of a word like that. And I can't come up with it. So there are also other ways that this might work. There might be a hidden with piece of, or even with requires this. But I can't see how to parse this clue. So I'm going to move on to one down, which would at least give me 4 starting letters if it works. Coral reefs with no resistance to change look less good. Coral reefs. That's a very specific definition. Like a coral reef probably doesn't have another word that exactly means that. With no resistance to change. Look, I imagine that the definition is look less good. But I don't know what's happening there. So we'll try another one. 2 down. The king having his investiture. What earth is that? The current king is Charles. Oh, CR is the abbreviation for Charles Rex, just as the last queen was ER. Charles is CR, and having could be owning. So crowning could be Charles's investiture. That's very neatly put together, isn't it? It's really clever. So lock would still work for one across. Oh, cut at an angle. A cut is a dialect word, or maybe not more, maybe more than dialect, for a canal. And a canal does need a lock. Is it when it's at an angle? It's more when it's at a, yeah, okay, when it's at a gradient, a canal needs a lock. I think that's good enough. I think as long as we know that a cut could mean a canal, which I first learnt in a video on Birmingham accents. Somebody talking about taking the whammel down the cut. Right, coral reefs with no resistance to change look less good. Now, I don't know quite what's going on there. Right, 9 across. Oh, military commander pierced by tip of this weapon. Okay, I think I do know what that is. The weapon here is a shotgun. And I know that because it's so similar in structure to the word shogun, which is obviously from a completely different culture and language and is a Japanese military commander. So it's shogun being pierced or having inserted the tip of the word this, which is the letter T. And thus we get shotgun. Look less good now. Oh, lose face. Yes, look, all the letters of lose face are in the words coral reefs. What do we take out of coral reefs to get the letters of lose face? Both of the R's. R stands for resistance in physics. So if we take the phrase coral reefs, or the letters of that, and we take out all the R's because it has no resistance, and then it's to change, we get lose face, to look less good. Also important in Japanese culture, like a shogun. Right, 12 across. Person with money wearing more elaborate clothes. So the F and the N are very useful here. Wearing is going to translate to just a 2-letter word, in. What am I wearing today? A white jacket because I'm going to Lord's, and a red tie because it's red for Ruth Day. But this is in, wearing the word, or being clothed, as it were, in this, by the word fancier, meaning more elaborate. And that gives us a financier at 12 across. 14 across, see something in, that's quite a useful start. This part of magazine could be recent, 6-6. Well, this is one of those clues which is kind of structured backwards. It's structured so you as the solver have to act as the setter. Because recent is an anagram of centre. What is in the magazine? A centre fold, yes, but a centre spread is what I think is in most magazines. They have a picture spread across both pages of the centre. And if you spread the letters of the word centre, you get the word recent. I am obviously using the British spelling of centre because this is the London Times. Right, 10 down. Senior officer. If you're thinking general, you're on the right lines. Senior officer's way of getting around mass protest. Well, the general strike of the early part of the last century was a major mass protest. General's trike, and a trike is a slightly old word for a tricycle, which is a slightly old machine. But it might be a way of getting around, especially if you were a young person back in the 1920s when the general strike happened. Anyway, sullen nuisance displaying listlessness, I can't pronounce it. Sullen nuisance displaying listlessness and dissatisfaction. That's a lot of long words for a crossword clue. But what we're looking at here is that word displaying. There's our recipe word, as Simon would say. It is telling us that this is a hidden. We often get a hidden in every puzzle. We often get hidden. We don't get it in every puzzle, but most have one somewhere. And this one is hiding a word in sullen nuisance. That is, of course, a French loan word, ennui, which means kind of listlessness and dissatisfaction, slight boredom. Let's try 5 down. Prepared to fight, subject to members' control. Armed, that means prepared to fight. Arms are members. That's one way of describing them on the body. Arms and legs are members. So underarms, is that subject to the control of arms? Yes. And that probably is also a phrase meaning armed. If we're under arms, we're tooled up, or you might say these days. Right, 3 across. Turned up again outside wine bars. Re for again. So I think the whole word is defined by turned up again. I don't know quite what outside wine bars is doing. Probably, knowing Jason's skills, bars is a kind of describing word for something that's happening. Oh, if a wine was barring its outside, could there be a 12-letter wine that you take out the outside letters and you're left with something that means turned up again? I don't think so. We'll have to come back to that. Let's try 11 across, which begins with a D. Small-scale scene I love in theatre. Well, drama is what I'm thinking immediately when I see theatre and this letter D. And a diorama is a small-scale scene. That's the sort of thing you make in a sort of a tableau, a project. You make a little diorama. I can be I, obviously. Love can be O from tennis. And well done, Mike Felinska, reaching the Ladies Open final. And if we put I-O in drama, we get diorama. So I think that works. Shall I try and go for the long one? 6 down. State where ignorance is bliss. That's really weird. If I hadn't got diorama, North and South Carolina would both fit in this, and I'd be thinking about that for state. It doesn't really have anything to do with where ignorance is bliss. So it's probably a cryptic definition of some sort, this clue. But state where ignorance is bliss, knowing nothing. Happy? Oh, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that as well. 7 down. Head of cage bird that's black and yellow. Very pretty cage bird. Pictured in the clue, but what we need is the head of cage, break, a bird that's black, break, and yellow. But yellow not of the colour, yellow the synonym for scared. So the head of cage is sea, bird that's black is raven, and craven means terrified. 8 down, duke and bishop filled with fear in tower. Right, well, I've read that correctly, but not correctly for answering the clue. I've read it correctly to picture the surface of 2 dignitaries terrified in the Tower of London, but that's not what we want. That last word could be read as tower, somebody who pulls something along or draws it. So drawer, I think, is the answer, and the duke is a D. The bishop this time, bishop can be B, but bishop can also be RR for right reverend. And if that bishop is filled with awe or fear, we get this draw. So let's go back to 3 across now. Turned up again, resurfaced would fit. That looks good. What's the rest of the clue about? Outside wine, red? Oh, outside is surface and red is barring it in. It's sort of imprisoning it. Oh, that's lovely. That's beautiful wording from Jason. He's a big fan of these clues where you posit one word and then what something else has done to it. So outside and wine has barred it. And it's surface and red around the outside. It's lovely, that. Oh, 13 down. Britpop band rocked on the radio. I think I could have done that without the letters. This is Suede, one of the bands in the big Britpop movement that involved Oasis and Blur and the Verve and so on. And Suede, it's a homophone for rocked. If a stone is rocking, it might be swaying. So 6 down, it's not going to be floss. Fools. Fools would fit. Fool's paradise. So obviously the fool is very happy because he doesn't know something. And it is a cryptic definition of a fool's paradise, a state where ignorance is bliss. It's not far off, not a cryptic definition in a way, but it's very neatly phrased, and I'm happy with that. So, 18 across, haven't read the clue. I can see that Old Testament would fit. Let's see if that might work. Epic historical work is somewhat over the top. Well, Old Testament can be abbreviated to OT. Over the top can be abbreviated to OTT. Does that mean I'm justified in saying that this answer is Old Testament, defined by epic historical work, because OT is part of OTT? I think so. I'd be very surprised if that answer was wrong. But it seems somewhat over the top. That seems a little lightly clued to me. 21 across, one likely to wade in after getting pushed around. Right, it looks like a surface about a pub fight or something. But I think we have to take one likely to wade literally. A wader is a type of bird. There are snipes and avocets and oyster catchers and that kind of thing. But I think egret would fit here. And it's quite a popular word in crosswords. And now I can see egret hidden in after getting backwards. So if you push that around, you get gnittegretfa, and hidden in that is egret. So the in there is doing quite a lot of duty in that clue. Shall we move on to 22? No, I've got 2 letters in 15 down. Artists in a funny way capturing lives. That's beautiful. This is an andlet, a clever clue where The whole clue is wordplay, but the whole clue is also a definition. And it's brilliantly put together. So what we have to do, in fact, for the wordplay here is capture the word lives, not lives, but a synonym for lives, in the letters of artists written in a funny way. And if we use is in an anagram of artists, we get satirists, who are, of course, artists, who are in a funny way capturing real things. That's that's an absolute banger of a clue. I mean, that one is one of those clues that you try and remember for when people say, can you name a clue you think is really brilliant? That is really brilliant. I'm blown away by that one. Right, 22 across, making good broadcast on a revolutionary. So we have to break this up into parts. Where do we draw the line? Probably after making good. So that can either mean to do well or to mend something, and repairing would fit here. Airing could be broadcast. What's that on? That's on rep. But rep is a revolutionary way of writing per. And per and a are synonyms, as in 15 times per year, 15 times a year, which is one of the things you do need to learn in crossword clues, that the simple word a in a clue could translate as per. Okay, 24 across. ChatGPT possibly invents things and is relevant. Well, ChatGPT possibly, surely that's giving me AI. Invents things, lies. If you tell invented stories, you're lying. Okay, so that's not right. So applies is relevant. So ChatGPT is not AI, it's an app. It's an example of an app. I presume it is. Right. Let's try the ones where we've got two letters. So I'll go through the downs. 16 down. Small interval, recalled by individual. Well, yeah, this is going, again, we just saw a clue where A was doing a lot more work than we expected. In this one, by is not just standing there as a space filler or saying put one bit of wordplay by another. By is defining a 5-letter word that we have to recall, and that's times. And we have to turn it backwards to recall it. An individual is 1, and then we get semitone, which is a small interval in music. 17 down. Seats get vandalized in flats and properties. Straightforward anagram, straightforward anagram of seats get, they have been vandalized. And flats are, as well as being apartments, they are very large parts of scenery on stage. Properties can be props on stage. So stage set describes flats and properties, but that's beautifully used in a misleading clue that implies it's about homes, but is actually about theatre scenery. 19 down, tell family member to avoid Roman square. Relate can mean tell, but I don't know how that would work here. Is there a Roman square? Relation would be a family member. Relative would also be a family member. There we go. And that would be avoiding IV to give us relate. IV can, of course, be Roman numerals for 4, which is a square number. So relative is avoiding IV to give us relate. 20 down, support for young boxer. Question mark. So a boxer is an example of a dog. The question mark can often mean we're using an example here in the clue. And a boxer is an example of a dog, as well as, of course, a pugilist. But what is a young dog? It's a pup. If we put pup on the end of this, it looks to me like we could put pro on the beginning, which can mean for, and prop up is to support. And that's again a beautifully phrased clue. Right, next we have 26 down, 26 across, and that involves countenance, particular means of communicating. Well, it looks to me from the grid like expression fits here. Yes, your expression is what's on your face, your countenance. And a particular means of communicating is an expression, like either as a phrase or how you say something. Quick look at 27 across, criminal tendency. To just a double definition there. Bent can mean criminal and it can mean a tendency if you have a certain bent to do something. 23 down, we have petty officer fences stolen picture. Petty officer can be PO, that's a standard naval abbreviation. Fences here, in the clue, in the surface, it looks like it means receiving stolen property, but it actually means boarding in. And what it's boarding in is a word for stolen, which is hot. So that is photo. And 25 across, old despot from America is difficult to deal with. O for old, Nero for the despot, US for from America. And that gives us onerous, difficult to deal with. So a beautiful puzzle, some absolutely stellar clues. Not, I think, too difficult for a Friday today. And that's the way they've been trending lately, which is interesting. Let's hit the submit and see that we haven't made a mistake. I hope not. We haven't. And there we go. That is how to do today's Times crossword. It's a lovely crossword. I will try and remember that clue for 15 down. Artists in a funny way capturing lives, or really capturing lives. Satirists. That's beautifully done. But so many of these had such elegant touches. And the proof of that is the purity of these surfaces. Every one of the surfaces of these clues feels like something you could easily read in a paper or as a sort of pretend clue to an ordinary crossword. Absolutely fabulous stuff from Jason, and delighted to get a go at that. Now, I did say I would have a go at the quick cryptic today. Oh, I'd better call it. I haven't been doing all the quick cryptics lately, so let's pile into that and see how quickly we can solve the quick cryptic. Film US president's residence in Spain, Casablanca, presumably, which can mean White House in Spain. Damage beginning to affect tourist area in Spain. Cost and A, damage is cost. Yell about owning bathroom item. I don't know. Furniture in English county, beds, short for Bedfordshire. A university teacher, a don, is an Adonis, a much admired man. Ancients when trained, that's an anagram. Canniest, shrewd. Rotter, I forget his name, so-and-so. Noise is hidden in the next one. Alliance, American figure rejected. Ally, no, that doesn't work. Right, fine dish turned over. Finished, that's an anagram, that's an and lit actually, I think. No, over is the definition, I'm wrong. Yell about owning bathroom item. I still don't know what that is. Let's try the other long one. Artist calling home, managed to save dime ultimately. Bother, don't know that either. Something sharp, is that on the record? Needle, that might be used to play a record. Answer only, soul divided by V for 5. Okay, I'm moving on to the down section, the bottom section. Wild thing from dusk till dawn. Daily? No. Beginner, only good. I can't get these. 12 down. Country close to Asia, I hope it flourishes. The close to Asia is the letter A, which gives us an anagram, Ethiopia. Wild thing, anagram of thing is night. Beginner, only good, no vice for the novice. Unspoiled one, a US state, that is Virginia. We do get a real state this time. Bloke securing lead on champ. So this is something cream, shaving cream. Why? Scream, securing having. Alliance, Axis, American, and 6 return. 22 at the bottom. Story with mango about. That's an anagram giving us gastronomy, the art of cooking. Oh, 6 down ends in an O, so it's Michelangelo. It's an anagram of calling home with E in it. Goodness me. 15 down. Cut of meat, say, fillet provided from the rear, tell if backwards, wild animal with lesions undergoing treatment, anagram lioness, fairly white pie, pasty, 17 down. Pins, the wrong way round, gives us snip for clip, and railway engine cracked, double definition, loco, there we go, under 3 minutes for the Times quick cryptic, and very well done if you were ahead of me on any of those. That's quite a good time for me. I mean, very occasionally if I wasn't talking, I might go around 2 minutes, but I'm always happy if I finish in 3 minutes for the quick cryptic. I hope this has been useful for you in your cryptic solving journey. We've had some wonderful emails recently from people who have been enjoying the cryptic content and have sort of either branched out and finished a puzzle on their own for the first time, or created their own crossword, and that's brilliant for people to engage with the channel. Absolutely a pleasure. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with obviously Sudokus tonight and another Times Masterclass by Simon next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.